Hello everyone, this is Daryl. I work as a software developer, and today I'm going to be playing TIS-100, continuing my Let's Play. And we're going to be going with level 16, which is Exposure Mask Viewer. So let's go get started. Okay, so read an X value from in, read a Y value from in, read a width value from in, read a height value from in, draw a rectangle of that size at the specified location. Very interesting. Okay. So we're going to have a ST label, which is just going to be start, and that's what we're going to jump back to when we restart our iteration here. But since we're at the start, we're just going to simply, it's just going to be move up, down, move up, down. And really, I'm just going to be moving all of these on to the next rows. So moving all four of these forward, and then we'll just move left to nil. So it's just going to move the four values down, and then you're essentially just waiting for this node to pass on something, whatever, since it doesn't matter. It's going to wait till it passes something onto here before it resets and does that again. In here, we're also going to have ST. It's going to move up into ACC. Well, first we get the X, yeah, so move up into ACC, and then move up, down. Then we need to SWP, move up into ACC, move up, down. So that'll get all of these values set, and then in here, ST as well, move up into ACC, SWP, move up into ACC. So that should get these all loaded with the values that they need. And we'll see how this works. I hope I don't overload these with commands and I need to change how I do my plan, but we'll see how that works. That obviously, well, we'll see. All right, so once all of these values are in here, we want to have these start their normal loops for processing this. So we'll put RPT here and RPT just for like the label of our normal iteration loop. And I really wish the SWP command didn't take up a whole line, because I think I need these to start with their XY values for the loop. Move ACC right. Okay, I guess I need to make that a little bit shorter. I'll do this as well. So you're going to move ACC right, move ACC right. I think these are going to need ST as well. Left down, move up, down, move left, down. Oh, let me think about this, because this is just passing on the X and Y output. Maybe we should actually start this. Let me try this. Let me actually not do that final swap. It'll give me an extra line back. Have it move ACC right, and then SWP here. ACC right, and SWP. So now first it's going to be giving that other value. So you're going to move left, ACC, SWP, move left, down, SWP. Well, actually, why do we need to swap if we're moving left down? Let's save some lines there. So you're going to store the width, and this one's going to store the height. Let's do this in the right order here. So it's going to move left into ACC, and then it's going to move, then it's going to take the X and then the Y. That's fine. So at this point, the X and Y have been output, and these both have in their ACC values the width and the height. Is this one going to need the height though? I might not need that, but at least as far as this one goes, it has the width right now. So this is going to be RP, and so this is going to continually ask. Actually, no, this doesn't even need to continually ask. This can just keep saying JGZ, GZ. Oh, let's do this. JEZEZ. So if it's not equal, this is going to be the main loop for this one. So if it's not equal to 0, then it's going to continually move 3, which is a white block, down. And then sub 1 and JMP RP. So it's just going to, until it's equal to 0, it's going to keep sending those values down. Okay, I think we need to do move -1 down. It needs to tell this node that it's not going to receive anything else. So at this standpoint, we have RP, JLZ, LZ. LZ is here. Actually, I think these ones can handle the height and width. Okay. SWP. So here, it's going to keep doing move up in ACC. It's less than 0, jump down to less than 0. If it's not less than 0, move ACC down, and JMP RP. So keep outputting until that happens, but once it gets the -1, SWP sub 1, JZ to easy, which easy would be here. But if it's not easy, move 1 up. I think I'm putting too many responsibilities here. So let me think about how I can maybe use a couple nodes here to split this up. I think I want to move everything over to the left, so move up, left, left, left. Oh, but then we don't have our reset path. I think I might be able to do this a different way, though, so I'm not going to worry about that for now. I'll leave this as right. Maybe I can make that the reset path. This is just going to move right, down, repeatedly. So move this all over. So right now, this passes on to here. I like having this be simple. So this is just moving up into ACC and moving up, down to pass that on. Swapping, moving up into ACC, moving up, down, just pass it on. And then I want this to just, instead of doing swap, first it gets the X, then it passes on the Y. Right, then it just passes on that, and then it passes on the height. Then all this has is the X value. And then I think all this really needs to do is provide the X value. SWP move any to ACC, which I know I haven't used any yet up till this point, but move any into ACC. JLZ to LZ. But if it's not less than 0, if it's passed back anything except for a negative, then all it needs to do is JMP RP. If it's less than 0, then JMP ST. And when this jumps back up to that, before we actually do that jump, I want to SWP. So I hope this node is complete. So it does the passing on of the values necessary to this one. All this is storing is the X. It's providing the X, and it's going to continually provide the X as long as it receives something that's not less than 0. Once it receives something that's less than 0, it'll accept and process more values. This node needs to move up into ACC. That's going to be the Y. You don't need the swap. It's going to move this to the right. It's going to give the height to this one. This one's going to be slightly different in the way it works. So it's going to provide that value. The general repeat is that it's going to move ACC to the right. Still, that's the same. SWP, move any to ACC. I think it'll always be from the right, but if it's going to move any to ACC, I'll do the same thing, JLZ to LZ. LZ is here. But if it's not less than 0, then what we actually want to do is SWP add 1, JMP RP, because we want to provide the next height value. And if it's less than 0, JMP to ST. So it's very similar to the way this one works, except for basically it doesn't have to pass on the values, and if we're past anything that's not a -1, it's going to add 1 to the height because we want the next height value, whereas the X value is never going to change. The Y value, the initial Y value, is going to change. So these nodes have their individual responsibilities now. So this one, I think I need to rethink this. So this one at the start of a new set, this is going to be provided just with initially with the width. So it's going to move left into ACC to get the new width. And then all this needs to do is provide that amount of values, SAV, so we want to save what the initial width is. Then we want our RP loop, which is going to say move 3 right. Well, actually, we probably want the check at the start. So JZ to EZ. But so if the value is not equal to 0, then we need to move 3 to the right, sub 1, JMP RP. Simple as that. Once it's equal to 0, then let me see here. So we need to, it's actually going to be from the right. So it's going to retrieve a value from this controller. And basically, if this thing, JLZ to LZ, if it's less than 0, then we're resetting. If we're not resetting, but it passes on something else, then we want to SWP save and JMP to RP. So if we pass from here not something that's less than 0, then we're telling it that we want, so we're telling this we want another row of values. So actually at the start of this loop, oh wait, we don't need to space this, right? Oops. Yeah. We want this SR because, so with the first, not at the complete start, but at like the mid start, we want to be able to move. We're going to accept the X value from here and pass it on. And then you're going to start your repeat thing. So after we take this value and it's not less than 0, it means we want to give it another loop, which means we need to pass back that X value as well. So instead of that, we're going to jump to SR, which I'm just using as like in between ST and RP, SR. And then if it's less than 0, let me see here. I need to tell it to give me that value again. So before we jump back to SR, we need to move a 1 left. And I think this is going to work. I think if it's less than 0, all we need to do is move -1 left to tell it to reset and JMP to ST. I think that's all this node needs to do. And we just have enough space for it. And then in this one, probably need to rethink it as well. So at the start, this one's going to be first accepting the height value. So yes, move left to ACC, save it. And then we're going to need the SR where we move left, right. And our RP, I'll change this to right. And this to right. Our RP here, it's going to be the same thing. Well, actually, no, it's going to be different. Let me think. So we're going to have the height. We're going to move, at the start, we're going to just move the Y value and over to here. And here we actually want to accept the value from the right. We already saved, so we have it in the other slot. And actually, I see right here, I'm doing a JLZ to LZ, and then LZ, all that's doing is jumping to ST. I can just do this and remove this line. But here, all right, so you take the value from the left and store it. That's the height. You're going to save the value. You're going to move the This is the initial y. Then you're going to accept a value from the right into ACC. And based off of that, JLZ to LZ for now. If the value we get is not less than 0, then I need to tell this thing I need another y. So I can move 1 left in JMP SR. Because this will go ahead and add the 1 and restart that. But then I also need to, okay, so before we do that jump, actually we don't need to wait for anything from here, actually. We don't need to get any output from there, because we're going to know in this node if we need to output more height. So the RP, let's kind of clear this out. The RP, you're going to pass that on from left to right. That's the Y value. Then you're just going to, the loop is going to be that you SWP sub 1 JZ to EZ, which will be here. But if there's still values left, then move 1 to left, SWP JMP SR. But if after you do the sub it's equal to 0, move -1 to the left to tell it to reset, and JMP to ST. So now let me think about this one. What this is going to be getting is, first it's going to be getting the X value, then it's going to be getting repeated values. This one might be too many nodes, but let's see. Because in general, this one's going to want to move up, down. Because first it's going to get an X value. This is probably going to need to be a loop. Then it's going to move left, down, because this is going to be the X and Y values. Then it needs to repeatedly move values from here downwards, from up, until it gets a -1. So this is going to be the RP. Move up, ACC, JLZ, LZ, and if it's not less than 0, move ACC down, JMP, RP, RP. If it is less than 0, move -1 down and JMP ST. So I think that's all this needs. We'll have to see if I'm right on that. And here, you're going to have ST, and it's just going to move left down. That's the X value. Actually, isn't this one just going to move left down? It's just going to be kind of a passing. It's just going to be getting... No, I need to pass back, because this expects a value from here. Okay, it's going to be a little bit interesting then. So this, or maybe I can, oh, let's figure this out. So this node is expecting a value from somewhere. Right now it's right. To tell it whether it needs to spit out another row of characters or not. And I think we can actually change, I think we can just have this be move left down. And I think we can have this be down to ACC. And you can just add, so at the point where we're going to tell this thing we need another height value, we just move 1 up to tell this it needs to spit out another set of rows. And then the same thing here, you just move -1 up. So now I doubt this is going to work on first try, but let's give it a shot. Yep, it is stuck. Because this is moving up, down, when it should be moving up to the left. Fantastic. Fantastic way to start. Okay, well, I mean... we got some output there. So what did we really get? Okay, all right, well, I wanted to just kind of pause it. So the one that we're trying to draw right now must be this one at 23 and 10. And it looks like it drew 1 row and then it started to draw another row, but it's like instead of going down to here, it went just over. So it looks like there's an issue with when we output the I'm curious, if we keep running, does it do anything? No, it doesn't do anything more than that. So let's step through what this is getting here. So it's getting the 23 and then the 10, and that's where it's outputting those. 3, 3, 3, 3, and this width is 4, so that's fine. So then it got that one, and then it repeats here. It's going to move up to ACC, which was a 3. This thing's passing at 11, which is going to be the next Y value, which is correct. This thing's passing over the next X value, so this is passing over the next X value, right? Oh, why was this at RP instead of ST? I think this should have been an ST at that point. Let me see here. So it passes the 23 and then the 10, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. This is expecting to get from here right now. It's expecting to get a 0 to tell it to reset. Oh, plus this thing's never being told to reset as well. How about we do it from here? How about before we jump to ST here, we move 1 up. So this will always move from right down, pass -1 up, move right into ACC instead. JLZ, LZ, LZ, and if it's not less than 0, move ACC down. Move ACC down and ST, MP, ST, and change this to move any. But if the value gets past less than 0, then move ACC right, but still JMP to ST. And then change this to move left to nil, so that'll kind of, this will accept from anywhere. If it comes from here, it's just passing it on down here. If it comes from here, well, if it takes from anywhere, if it's -1, it must be from here, so it's going to pass it here. If it's not less than 0, it's going to pass it down to here. So that should handle the full reset, but we still need to tell this node when it needs to do this again somehow. Why don't we just do that? Do the same thing. Have this thing, when this thing tells that to reset, it moves -1. Well, let me think about this. Yeah, just have this, because it's telling it when everything needs to reset. So move -1 right, and instead have it so that this thing, instead of on this repeat, problem that I'm going to have is that if I change this to move any into ACC, then this thing's going to get stuck. What if instead I change this to move any down, and then when this gets reset, it moves left to right, and whenever this happens, move left down. Kind of the idea is the -1's going to end up getting passed up through here to reset this. This gives this to here, and that's how you can get the -1 to here, which then moves to here. Let's try that. Nope. Still ain't working. Let's see what's going on. Because that will work when we do the entire reset, but not when we do just one row reset. You know, I'm just going to change this back to nil. Get rid of that. All right, so I think I'm going to have to move some of the responsibilities in here over to here. Basically this main loop. So what I'm thinking of doing is, instead of having this loop be here, this whole part right here, so we want this to move left into ACC. All this is going to do is move left into ACC, and then we want an easy loop. So it's going to keep moving 3 down and subbing 1 till it's 0, in which case you move -1 down and move left into A, or well, then you're just gonna, you need this to be ST, move ST. Oh, sorry, not move JMP. And here, this whole loop, instead of doing this whole loop, see, the thing is this needs to pass the X value beforehand. So all you need to do for that is move left down, because that'll, yeah, because it's going to pass left to the right. Then instead of doing this repeat thing here, you're just going to go straight to here. You're just going to wait until this gives you a value. Because we didn't subtract, we don't need to do this other stuff. We don't need to do this save, because it's not going to be changing in here. We don't need to do this swap and save. I think this might work better. Okay, that's repeating way too long here. So let's see what's going on here. So we're at the start here, and it's going to pass that down. It's going to get the... Okay, wait a minute. We need to move ACC right here. All right, there we go. How about that? Well, I feel like we're making progress. So you move left to ACC. First value it's getting should be, with the way this works, I think the width, right? Or is it getting the, let me see. Passes the 4. Yeah, so the first value it gets is the width. That's why. Because we are accepting down into ACC. So after you move ACC right, you do have to do a SWP. And then after you figure this out, if you need to do another row before jumping to SR, you need to SWP again. How about that? Looks like it's working. Let's see how this goes. Look at that. Well, I'm sure this is going to be the longest episode that I've had of this. That was definitely the most difficult challenge thus far. And so looking at the results here, I'd say I have about average cycle counts, about maybe slightly less than average on the node count statistics, and pretty bad on instruction count, so there's better ways to do this, including a pretty good method here, but it is what it is. That was quite a challenge. All right, so I guess that's going to be it for this one. Hopefully that was entertaining. Hopefully I don't have to have an episode longer than this one, but we'll see. We have this one, and then 4 more, and then whatever is in here. Maybe it's a whole nother page of problems. I don't know. We'll need to see about that. But thanks for watching. Hopefully that was entertaining. Catch you guys next time.